Hello and welcome to Volume 2 of the Transfixx Yourself zine series, video edition, a simple, compassionate guide to HIV self-testing. Thank you so much for watching. Transfixx, if you guys don't know, is an outreach project dedicated to empowering queer and trans people living with disabilities to gain bodily autonomy over sex and pleasure. The Transfixx Yourself zine series is made up of simple guides that provide you with tools for keeping your sex life safe, pleasurable, and on your own terms. For more tutorials, a lot more resources, and other things, you can visit the website transfixxproject.com, or you can follow our Instagram, which is transfix with one X dot X dot X due to censorship guidelines. Now, why is this one important? It is so, so, so important to know your HIV status. Getting tested regularly for HIV and other sexually transmitted infections is one of the simplest yet most effective ways that you can make sure that our community stays safe and healthy. Going to the doctor can be an incredibly daunting experience for many of us who have had to deal with dead naming, misgendering, ignored symptoms, sensory overload, ignorance, and microaggressions in past medical experiences. It can also be difficult for those of us who are struggling financially or have limited mobility to make it in person to a clinic to be tested. Thankfully, there are so many other options now. HIV self-testing kits provide you with quick and simple ways to test yourself for HIV with no doctors, no needles, from the safety and comfort of your own home. So do not let fear or anxiety get you or your loved ones sick. I'm going to teach you how to test. So first, let's go over when to test. For regular health maintenance, if you're sexually active or you use needle drugs, otherwise you're coming into contact with bodily fluids of other people regularly, you should try and get tested for HIV every 4 to 6 months. It's also a good idea to get tested before you have sex with a new partner, especially if you guys are planning on swapping fluid, cum, pre-cum, blood, vaginal secretion, or breast milk. All can transmit the HIV virus. If you think you might have been exposed to HIV self-tests are extremely accurate, but not immediately. The window for self-testing after exposure is 23 to 90 days. If your exposure was more recent than that and you're anxious to know your status, you can get a nucleic acid test at a clinic starting at 10 days after exposure. No, this one is really important. If you are currently taking PrEP, self-tests may be a little bit less effective at detecting HIV in its early stages. So if you were exposed recently and you're on PrEP, a blood test is your better bet just for making sure you're totally safe. If you test negative after an exposure, you should take a follow-up test 4 to 6 months after just to be safe because the virus can take time to develop. You should also make sure that you are practicing safer sex during this time and or that you are informing your partners of this potential exposure and the steps that you've taken so that you can both together make an informed consensual decision about whether you'd like to have sex. Now, how do you get free HIV self-testing kits? Best and easiest resource for getting free HIV self-testing kits is a website called Together Take Me Home. Together Take Me Home is an absolutely incredible organization in which any person over the age of 17 who is living in the United States or Puerto Rico can request 2 free HIV self-testing kits to be delivered directly to their door every 90 days. You can access this site by going to togethertakemehome.org or through the Transfixx website, and I'll show you how to do that now. You can find the Together Take Me Home website at together.takemehome.org or through the Transfixx website. If you go to the Volume 2 HIV Self-Testing Guide page in the Resources Zine section, you will see that there is a button that will take you to the links, or you can also scroll down on the page and get to them. Every link that is mentioned in this zine will be available right here. The first one is the Together Take Me Home link. You just press this button, it will take you right to the site. This site is available in Spanish and English. If you'd like to change the language, there is a button in the top right corner. Now you'll see Towards the bottom middle of the screen, there is a red button which says Order Now. If you are interested in ordering your free HIV self-testing kits, we'll go ahead and press this. Now you will put in your zip code and your date of birth, and it will tell you whether or not you are eligible for a free test. You'll see I've qualified, and now I will click the blue Next button, which is in the middle bottom of the page. Now I will enter my name and email address. Then I will put in the mailing address for this order. Again, you simply fill out your mailing address and your contact information. It will tell you that you are approved, and within 3 to 5 days, you will receive a package with your 2 free tests in discreet packaging with no return address that lets anybody know what's going on in there. Remember, you can get up to 2 free tests every 90 days. That means that you can take one for yourself, save one for a partner, or donate one to a mutual aid group or a person in need that you know. Another way that you can get access to HIV self-testing kits is through the greaterthan.org program. And this program will take you to a service locator that will show you the specific programs that are available in your state to provide HIV self-testing kits. You can scroll and see what's available. This site also has a lot of other great resources. Now that we've gotten our tests in the mail, it's time to take the test. First, take a minute, find a location that feels safe and cozy, take a few deep breaths to ground yourself, and remember that no matter the result on this test, knowing your HIV status is the first step to keeping your community safe. And no matter what is on that test, you are an incredibly important, valuable, and loved member of our community, no matter what. Now you can open the testing package. You got this. The OraQuick box. OraQuick is the brand of HIV self-testing that you will receive. It comes in a blue rectangular box that looks like this. When you open the box, there will be a sheet of instructions, another sheet of instructions, a package with the test in it, and a plastic base for keeping the sample upright. And we're going to open this package here. In it, there will be a swab, which is a plastic piece with a thinner neck here and then a wider swab. And then in a separate compartment, a test tube. And you can put the test tube into this little plastic dock so it stays in place and doesn't fall over. And you can take this lid right off of the tube. Now, use the swab to collect oral fluid, so that means saliva, from your top and bottom gums. You only need to do one swipe across. So one swipe across the top and one swipe across the bottom. Now I'm going to place the swab into the test tube. And you'll see, looks like this. Now I'm going to set a timer for 20 minutes. After 40 minutes, the results of this test will be invalid, so it's very important if you get distracted that you set a timer for yourself to check these results. All right, so we'll check back in 20 minutes. Okay, so it has been 20 minutes. Now I'm going to go back and check my HIV self-test. I'm going to remove it from the testing tube, and I'm going to look at the testing window at the center of the plastic. You'll see that there are 2 arrows on the side next to the testing window. The top one is marked with a C, and the bottom one is marked with a T. The top layer is the control, and it will always have a pink line, as you can see right here. My test right here is a negative test result, and that means you will only see the pink line next to the control arrow. If this were a positive test result, there would be a second pink line next to the T. There will also be photos of positive and negative test results on the ZINE page of the Transfixxx website under the Reference Photos tab. Now that you've received your result, we'll talk about what to do after receiving a positive test result. A positive HIV test result can be really scary, and that fear is completely understandable. But remember that this is not the end for you. HIV is no longer a death sentence or even a sentence to a life of pain or celibacy. With treatment, HIV can become completely undetectable within your viral load and untransmittable to others. Your first step after a positive HIV self-test result should be to schedule an in-person doctor's appointment to receive a blood test. False positive results are extremely rare with HIV self-testing kits, but they do happen. So it's important to get this extra assurance of your status. If the second test is also positive, then your healthcare provider will then start to discuss treatment options with you. During this period of great change and uncertainty within your body and within your life, it is really important to lean on others for support. Remember that you are not a biohazard. You are not dangerous. You do not need to hide yourself away from those you love. If you are worried that this diagnosis may not be safe to share with your current community, then this is a time to create new bonds and communities. Seek out HI positive elders or other community members for support and resources, and allow yourself to accept the love, care, and treatment that you deserve to stay safe and healthy. Now we're going to go over some resources that are available for those who have been diagnosed with HIV or AIDS. We're returning now to the resource link section that is below this zine on the Transfixxx project website. And we're going to go to the resources for those living with HIV/AIDS section. The first resource that we're going to talk about is the HIV.gov service locator. This website allows you to quickly input your location and the kind of services that you are looking for and find out where you can get them. You can filter by HIV testing, STI testing and treatment, rapid HIV STI self-tests, mail-in HIV self-tests, HIV and PrEP, DoxyPEP, hepatitis C resources, condoms, HIV care, health centers, mental health, substance use, and housing assistance resources. Another great resource locator is Stop the Virus's resource toolkit. Here, you can filter by healthcare support, housing and living assistance, social and family and employment resources. Now, there are also some community resources. First one is the Well Project, which is a nonprofit which supports women and girls across the gender spectrum who are living with HIV. They have a wide variety of resources around advocacy, leadership, community, and a blog that's called A Girl Like Me, where people can share their experiences. Next is the Pause Forum, which is a community forum that allows HIV positive people to ask and answer each other's questions, sharing knowledge that isn't always readily available, and providing support and perspective. There are lots of different sub-forums with specific topics as well, including HIV prevention and testing, main forums, and meds, mind, body, and benefits, and off-topic forums. Next, there is My HIV Team, which is a social network and mobile app that connects people living with HIV across the globe, allowing for casual conversations as well as sharing articles, answering formal questions, and more. Users can specifically connect with users who are taking the same medications as them or dealing with the same health problems, so you guys can share experiences back and forth. Another great resource is Positive Peers, which is a mobile app that is for supporting and connecting people aged 13 to 34. So specifically young people with HIV and AIDS. The app allows you to create and track health and wellness goals, as well as connecting you to the rest of the app community and providing other resources. One Voice is an online support group that meets over Zoom every last Thursday of the month. So the last Thursday of every month, they meet between 6 and 7 p.m. This is an open topic group for anyone who is living with or affected by HIV or AIDS. And finally, there is the HIV/AIDS Representation Project Hotline. This is a hotline that connects people with HIV and AIDS with legal representation. And you can go to the Legal Aid NYC website page to find out more, or you can call 718-579-8989 to reach their hotline. Thank you so much for taking the time to watch this video, taking the time to keep yourself and your community safe. You are loved and you have so many options to stay safe and to keep everybody around you safe. I love you. Bye.